All right, here we go. In three, two, one. Hello, everyone. Welcome back once again to the Great Scott Podcast. Today, I am joined by entertainer Mr. Steven Sorentino. How's it going, Steven?
Hey there from Las Vegas. How are you?
I'm great. I'm in Kansas City, so hello to you from here.
Cool. What's up?
How are things in Las Vegas right now?
Things are getting back to normalish. We're getting audiences that are half full. I think they like it that way, but people are loving the show with masks on. They're still singing and clapping along, which is cool.
Yeah, I was wondering, are you guys still wearing masks out there? Have to have the whole mandate of masks out there?
Yeah, the casinos have masks on, and when the audience members have to have masks on as well during the show. But I asked them to sing, so it's just as well, you know.
Well, so after Las Vegas had been opening up, people were kind of surprised to find that you had ventured into some other stuff.
Yeah, for me, when COVID happened, I had to move. I think as an actor and as a performer and as a composer, you always have to keep moving and reinventing yourself. So it was a perfect time for me to say, okay, let's start doing some film work again. So I did. I went to the East Coast, my other home, and I found this great script in Philadelphia, and I wound up doing this great film that just happened. It all just came together beautifully. So it's been it hasn't been a bad, is there such a thing as a good pandemic? But it's been an okay experience.
So what's the name of the film that you've been doing?
This is called A Tale of Redemption and Regret with Sonny the Heat. It's the longest title in the world. We call it Sonny the Heat.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, Sonny is a guy from Philadelphia, kind of a wise guy mobster who came to the end of his rope kind of later on in life and really refuses to let go. He wants to stay with his 1980s morals and his way of doing things. And, he's still trying to run numbers and run the horses and stuff. But, people are doing betting on their phones and he doesn't get that. Yeah. So he tries to stay relevant. And we find in this film that it's not that easy.
So it's a gangster film then, mafia kind of film. Yeah.
It's a dark comedy. So it's a mafia thing, but it's got so much more. He's got so many levels. And this character, you see, I wouldn't take a character if it was just a typical mobster, shoot 'em up type of thing. For me as an actor, I want to have a heart and I want the guy to have a past and I want you to like him, even though he's a murderer. And I think we achieved that with this. It's different.
So as I had mentioned, you are a Las Vegas headliner and you've gotten to work with some of the greatest entertainers in the world as well. And I just want to ask you about a couple of them. One of them is a comedic impressionist, just like yourself, Dana Carvey.
Yeah, Dana Carvey for me was one of the nicest. I kind of, when entertainers are on the same level, their same mind level, I connected with him within seconds. We were playing at the Paris Hotel and I was his opening act first night. And he just popped his head in like out of nowhere. And he says, "Is this the best room in town?" And I said, "No, it used to be the Desert Inn, but they blew it up." He's like, "Is this the second best?" I'm like, "Yeah." So he says, "I saw you have a guitar. Get your guitar." So within a minute and a half of meeting him, we were doing Beatles songs in his room. There are places I remember. He was so warm and so not adversarial as an entertainer. He was just warm and embracing. I love Dana Carvey.
Did you guys
and funny as hell.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Did he regale you with his SNL stories as well?
Oh yeah, he told me everything, and I loved the fact that Dana was running jokes by me just before he went on. Just before I opened for him, he's like, "What about this? Michael Jackson, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Wait, you're writing the stuff now?" Which was awesome, fresh.
So is that why he kind of does run his jokes past people before going on a few minutes before?
I guess so. His process is so different because I would be backstage listening and he'd be making these noises and not telling any jokes and just doing weird stuff. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And his manager said, that's him dialing it in. He's scanning to figure out where the audience is. And every night you could just tell after, boom, how you doing? And then he was there. So he's like a brilliant mind that just scanned, figured it out, and then engaged in incredible comedy.
Wow. And just one of the greatest comic and impressionists as well. I mean, everything that he does is just spot on as far as impressions go.
Yeah, the other thing about Dana is I have some pictures on my website of him poking me in the eye with a guitar, just messing around backstage, a lot of fun. He's got that, whatever that is, when he walks in the room and the whole room lights up, he's got that big personality, but he's not a loud person. It's just his aura kind of fills the room, which is, star quality.
And another person that I just and was sad when she went was Debbie Reynolds.
And that was my crazy grandmother and nutty sister all combined into one. I toured with her and co-produced with her, and I was her opening act, the bodyguard and travel confidant for 5 years. And she was probably learned more about acting and how to treat and be on stage more than any class I ever took in New York or LA, was just being with Debbie.
Were you shocked to learn of her passing about one day later after her daughter had died?
No, because it's what Debbie would do. If you knew Debbie Reynolds, she would say, "Well, I mean, my daughter hasn't been dead in a long time, so she had to know where to go, so I had to go with her." And I had, that's the way Debbie was. She was very systematic. So it was a perfect time, if that makes any sense. It was a perfect time for her to be the last bit of Debbie Reynolds to say, "Well, I have to go with her and I have to facilitate this." So I get it. And she was a beautiful, again, bright light. I'm very lucky to, during my career, have met some of my mentors and met my idols, and they have been more than what I had hoped. And she was amazing.
So her and Carrie were pretty close then, it sounds like. I mean, very, very close.
Yeah, she was a mom, They called her Debbie. Everybody called her Debbie, including her children, which was kind of cool because she was Debbie Reynolds, but then there was the other side that was the mom,
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful human. Beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Just a beautiful woman.
Mm.
So anyways, you're also known as a Elton John impersonator.
That's, as an actor, I play every role from, I played a mafia boss drag queen in a movie. I'm playing a mafia hitman in another one. I played a special needs guy in a home. A lot of different characters, a grandfather, a dad, a kid. One of the parts that I played over the years is Elton John, the voice, the look, and I also play piano and sing like him. Back in the 80s, I lost 2 record deals because I sounded too much like Elton John.
Ooh.
So I decided to put a tribute show together, and it went international. Within 2 years, I was touring the world. I've done 35 countries. And that's it's a gig and it's fun. And I get to put on somebody else's disguise and take the accolades that he gets, because it's not me, it's just the suit,
Yeah.
But I've made it, on and off when there's no work as an actor or comedian or whatever. I was happy to put the suit on and wiggle around and facilitate the Elton John character.
Now, has anybody shown Elton your impersonation of him, or has he seen it?
I don't know. I don't think it's something that he would appreciate, honestly, because it's something for the audiences that like Elton John but don't have a chance to see him. So it's a novelty, and I don't think he'd appreciate it, honestly.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Well, speaking of,
I don't know. Ask him.
I'll book him next after I get done here.
Yeah, we'll do dueling Eltons. Can you feel the love tonight?
Rocket Man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mars ain't the kind of place to raise your kids.
Oh, absolutely. Crocodile. Anyways. Yeah.
Whatever.
But anyways, so one other thing that you I don't think that you knew so much about yourself maybe until later on is that you have a very famous cousin.
I do. Yeah, it's you.
It's me.
Yeah, Sammy Davis Jr. is Bruce Springsteen is my cousin. Bruce Springsteen. Yeah, the thing is, he was just my cousin Bruce when I was a kid, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together because my whole family was musicians. So my grandfather, my mother, my father, everybody was gigging on the weekends, including my cousin. And for some reason, I just never put 2 and 2 together. I don't know, because he was a Sorentino to me, and he's 10 years older than me. And lo and behold, like in my 20s, I went, wait, Bruce is Bruce? It just blew me away.
Wow. That's incredible. Have you gone to go to his shows at all? I mean, and if you do, I mean, he just has the most energy that I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, he calls me his talented Vegas cousin. I've never been to one of his concerts, but when people find out that I'm his cousin, they come to my shows hoping that he'd be there, which doesn't make any sense. Like he'd just be hanging out, I also have another cousin who's the Situation, Mike Sorentino, and he doesn't come to my shows either, thankfully.
Now you mentioned not putting 2 and 2 together. I actually, now that you say that, that would make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
With
from
the
Jersey
Sorrentino
Shore.
triplets. That's right. Yeah. And my Aunt Della, My great grandfather came over on to Ellis Island with his little sister. My great grandfather's little sister was Bruce's grandmother, so we're second cousins. And I have a ring that I wear, and I don't have it with me right now, but I wear it from 1915. My great grandfather, gave it to my grandfather, to my father, and I wear it in every single film or stage performance or poster, anything. I've always worn it since I'm 13, and Bruce wants to buy that ring.
Are you going to sell it to him?
No. For $1 billion.
I think he has that money. I think
you're right.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, brother, if he forks over $1 billion, I'm in. I'll cut you in for 10%. Everybody's happy.
Okay. Sounds like a deal to me. But talking about your early entertainment career, you were pretty much a very young child when you really did start at like age 5, because you would introduce your grandfather.
Yeah, my grandfather was like kind of like a Ricky Ricardo type of character, because he owned the club and the people would come to dinner and there was dinner and dancing, and then the curtain would open up and there was my grandfather with his orchestra and my mom singing and my father playing saxophone. And then I would, before he came on, I would come on as this little stupid 5-year-old and say, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Falanos. And now here's my lousy grandfather, Tony Falano. Yeah, and that was him telling me to say that. And then, everybody would laugh and people say, you shouldn't say that about your grandfather. I'm like, he gave me the dialogue, So yeah, I grew up in a showbiz family for my whole life. I've been in my whole life almost.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're third generation entertainer.
Yeah, including the Springsteen stuff. So all my whole family, my uncles and aunts, they all, I don't know, for me, music was always there. Like they used to play my mom's radio, Italian music on the radio on Sundays. So we'd all listen to her music. And I kind of grew up in that Italian Long Island, New York family with the singing mother and the playing father. All right. Viva Italiano.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now I just need to get to Vegas myself.
Yeah, come on out. I got tickets for you, waiting for you.
Yeah, so you still do perform in Vegas then, even though you kind of maybe took a little bit of a break per se, as far as.
Yeah, I took a break and I just came back here about a month ago, and we're doing the 6 shows weekly. Every night I'm on stage except for one day off, just today. And today's my birthday. Yay.
Happy birthday. Do you want to say how old you are? No,
do you? Don't worry about it. I'm 21 and a virgin. How about that? No, because I play different characters. So
gotcha.
I'm actually a 0. I'm just like from another planet. But yeah, there's shows every night. And again, I'm at the Tropicana Hotel. It's wonderful. And then I'll also be hosting the show. So I'll be doing the Elton John bit, and I'll also be doing my comedy as a host. So, and they won't know, well, if anybody watches this, I'm screwed, but they won't know that I'm the same guy, because the Elton John thing is the teeth, eyebrows, the English accent, the whole bit. So it's a complete different person speaking and everything. And then I come out and I do Led Zeppelin, like Jerry Lewis singing Led Zeppelin and Wayne Newton. It's a weird comedy bit, man.
It sounds like
it. Yeah. It's like Black Dog by Jerry Lewis. Hey, mama said the way you move are going to make you sweat, are going to make you roll.
So let me ask you this. So you do a lot of impressions. When you were younger, did you, because I had asked Rich Little this as well. We had Rich Little come on, and he's another Vegas guy. And I asked him, did you ever impersonate your family growing up, or do mimicry of your family? And he said yes. So I'll ask you that. Did you do a lot of mimicry with your family growing up?
Rich Little was somebody that I wanted to grow up to be like. And I used to watch the show all the time, and I said, someday I'm going to be just like Rich Little. And eventually he moved across the street from me here in Vegas. So we were neighbors.
Yeah.
And here's the weirdest part. He's at this hotel as well, an hour before us, in the comedy club. So we're still performing together. And the answer is yes. I did my Aunt Rosie first and my grandfather. My Aunt Rosie was kind of like Jerry Lewis with a cigarette. How you doing, honey? Yes. So I used to do that and dress up. And exactly like Rich, when they used to leave their coats back when people wore hats in the 60s, they would leave their coat and hat, and I would put their coats and hats on and do impressions of all the family members. I was a messed up kid. We all are.
I agree with you. And then when you were also younger, you used to do like Johnny Carson Tonight Show mimicry as well. I mean, you had a friend that would be Johnny, and you would do the like what Rich used to do the guest.
Yeah, I wonder if he's still out there. If Eddie Lopez is out there in 5th grade he did a great impression of Johnny Carson. That's the only one he did. And he was amazing, you know. And he would do Johnny, and that would come out as every character and be interviewed as Columbo and all these weird characters. This was lunch. Like the kids, instead of eating lunch, would just sit in the classroom and watch the stupid show every day. We were nuts.
No, so speaking of Johnny, that was Rich. I remember him saying that was his hardest mimicry to do as far as voices are concerned. Did you have a voice that was so? I mean, like a tough voice for you to do?
Johnny Carson was the tough one, but I listened to a friend that sounded like Johnny Carson but didn't know it, and I listened to him, and I'm like, oh, because his name is Jeff Fairchild, and this is the way he talks, and I'm like, oh, there it is. That is wild stuff. And I swear, and Liberace, I could never get Liberace. And I had a friend who used to impersonate an impersonator, and I used to impersonate the friend that impersonated the personator. And marvelous, ladies and gentlemen, this is Liberace. So I never really get it from the actual source. I get it from the third generation of the impression. Weirdo, man.
Yes, you are.
Joan Rivers, how can we talk? Oh, perfect.
That's spot on. That is so. And Joan used to be in Vegas too. She had her own show in Vegas.
Yeah,
too.
I had dinner with Joan Rivers a few times, and she was such a sweet lady. Miss her a lot. She's great.
The Fashion Police. She had the Fashion Police show with Melissa.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
She was great.
Oh, absolutely. So, so now you have two indie films out.
Yeah, I have. Well, there's going to be 3 soon. Sunny the Heat, and if anybody wants to go, go to my website www.stevensorrentino with a ph.com. You could see the movie there, and then anywhere tag anything, just say hashtag Go Sunny. We won like 30. We're in 30 festivals worldwide. We won 16 awards so far.
Wow.
I'm just blown away. A Best Actor 5 times and Best Song. I even composed the music for the movie, and I won Best Song for 3. So like, I'm just like, I kind of think it's a joke and somebody just playing a trick on me, but I'm really, really grateful, man. And then there's another film that's coming out. It's a short film, not a short film, it's a feature, independent film called Death on Evergreen. And I play a dad, a dopey kind of fun dad, opposite of this murderer. And then the next film I'm doing is called Amends of the Father. And that is going to be kind of a thriller. And there's a great twist at the end. It's about a guy that was a musician in the 80s. Sounds familiar? And kind of was a deadbeat dad and, not familiar. And there's an interesting relationship with his son that has to be seen. Amends of the Father.
So is that coming out soon?
Yeah, well, we're still shooting that. So it should be out in January, February. And then I'll be doing a play in New York in August called It Could Be Worse, where I play an Italian guy with his lesbian daughter and her girlfriend. So it's going to be fun at the Chain Theater on 36th Street in New York. And that runs for a month, halfway through August and halfway through September.
And Stephen, here in Kansas City, I've also been doing comedy myself, stand-up comedy as well for the last 2.5 years. Okay,
give me some. Let me hear.
I'll give you one joke that I have. Okay. So I have many, but I won't. But anyway, so one of the jokes that I do is, so driving from gig to gig, you see all these street signs. And one such street sign was that this street was dedicated to this person. Now, obviously, we don't know who this guy is, but I mean, it mentions his nickname underneath that street sign, which is Mommy's Little Fat Man. So we now know 2 things about this guy. Number 1, he was really close to his mother. And number 2, the city spent money to fat shame him.
That's good.
So apparently the term daddy's little drunken mistake was already taken.
Boom. The comedians don't laugh at jokes normally. They just, if it's good, they go, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, I know.
I used to play for the Las Vegas Comedy Festival, and including George Carlin was out there, so I would host it. It's the worst audience in the world because no one wants to laugh. No. I mean, the worst of the worst. Jack Carter, the old school guys. Oh my God. So I'll be up there like shaking, and nobody laughed. And they would just, if it was a good joke, they would just shake their head. That was good.
Sounds intimidating.
Oh, you have no idea. It was like being in a cold pool. I was in the pool because I walk off with no, you know what, it was rough.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Well, Stephen, I hope to see you here in Kansas City. Maybe one day you'll come to Kansas City and we'll perform together.
Hey, man, that would be wonderful. I've been to Kansas City at the casino. There's several casinos in Kansas City,
Yes.
and I played there. I'd love to. And if I come to town, will you open for me?
I will bring that one joke with me. No, I'm joking. I'll yes, yes.
Well, we could do the joke in Spanish, Italian, and Russian. It would take 20 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I would look forward to that. And so, Stephen, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you so much. See, Sonny the Heat. Go, Sonny.
Go Sunny.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, sir.